You got to love it when your camera can't get started, your internet doesn't get started. You can't get the party started when nothing is working. This is why I probably should come on earlier to do these things. We got Zach Attack in the room. We got Mike Lee. We got Giants Among Men. We got Chris in the room as well. Oh, let's start this party because you know what?
Any painter can paint.
Any painter can paint. What is going on there? Evidently, we got
up the wow factor.
We got Certa Pro coming in as a sponsor. All right, everyone. You know what? It's I got to get all this started. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get all this up together here. You know what? It's time. It's Sunday. It's New York Giants Straight Talk. It's got a lot to go. We got Jeff Newman also in the room. What's up, Chris? Let's put everyone up. We're going to smash the like button. We got everyone coming in. We got Zach Attack. We got the Chris. We got Mike Lee coming in saying Tim was nice. He didn't bring a piece of turf to scare Daniel Jones. Mr. Jones. I love it because people asked me, why did you call him Mr. Jones when I was up at the mic? And those that do not know, of course, I went to the Giants town hall and I was able to ask Daniel Jones a question, and it wasn't a bad question. It was a good question. I thought, it was a fair question. It was an honest question. I thought I thought he gave a good, he gave the PR canned answer. The only concern I had after I asked the question, or when I was asking the question, he actually grabbed his side and was rocking back and forth like this when he was answering it. Psychologically, that's not a good response. We got Rob coming in late. I see him. He's scrambling. He's going to be like, I got kids, man. They're everywhere. We all got kids. But you know what? It was a good event. You got to see all the players. You got Xavier McKinney was there, Andrew Thomas, Kayvon Thibodeau, the Walla Walla Waller. He also had Bobby Okereke. I had to get Rob on because he's fixing his hair. He's got so much of it to fix.
Yeah, somebody stole my car this morning, and I literally just got it back. I had to track him down. I beat him with a bat that I had since I was 10 years old, and I literally just got home. So sorry about that.
For those that do not know, I told Rob, if you're going to be late, don't make up a story that says, well, I was helping my kids. Make up a good story.
Is that W?
It was not a good story. It was not a good story.
Well, I tried. Fuck.
It's one of these. It's not a good story. Not a good story. But we got Rob in the house. Rob, I got a bone to pick with you.
What's up, Tim?
I got a bone to pick with you.
What did I do now?
What did you do now? We got
what didn't I do? What didn't I do?
Jeff Newman saying, OGR Sports dropping on in. Everyone knows Mr. OGR. We got Rob. Big
morning, Chris.
We got Chris in the house. My crack staff. And I have a crack staff. His name is Zach. Also, aka also the Googler. Sent me something the other day, and I'm going to see if I can't post it. And it's something that you posted online on Twitter. So I'm going to pull this up because my crack staff, we have the crack staff here. It says 4 out of 5 of these games are winnable.
They are.
Hold on. We don't like ass kissers. So we're going to win. And I'm not saying we can't win, but you think that you're going to win Dallas, San Francisco, Seattle.
No, I actually listed the teams that I thought were winnable games.
But and Buffalo.
No, I think the Dallas is a winnable game. It's week 1. All teams, crazy shit happens week 1,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think Seattle, is a winnable game because we played them last year. So I think Brian Daboll and Wink Martindale, they're familiar with them playing last year. They're coming to New York. So, they just played them last year. So it's fresh in their mind. The week 6 matchup against the Bills, I think it's a fair, not fair, but I think it's a winnable matchup because it's Joe Shane, Brian Daboll going up against their old team for the first time. The fan base is going to hype it up. Josh Allen, baby Josh Allen.
Where are they playing? Where are they playing that game though?
It's in Buffalo. So, it's not necessarily it's in New York. So it's not necessarily, you're going to have Buffalo fans, but it's not necessarily.
It's not in, first of all, I'm going to tell you this. I've been to Buffalo.
New York is New York, though.
I've been to Richboro Stadium, but I don't think it's Richboro Stadium anymore. I was up there and I watched Jim Kelly play. Buffalo is not New York. Buffalo does not sit there and subscribe to, we're Giant fans. Giant fans don't travel well to Buffalo. Most teams now, like Philadelphia fans, travel well to MetLife. You are not going to get a large contingent.
What's the drive from Philly to MetLife? It's like what, 4 hours, 5 hours?
Philly to MetLife. No, you can do that in 2.5 hours.
Okay. Because I had an uncle that lived in Connecticut, and I thought he said it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive to we lived in Howard Beach at the time.
Well, also from Connecticut, it's about if you're going to New York, it's about a 4 hour drive, depending on.
Oh, so Connecticut is a little bit further.
Connecticut is further out than Philadelphia, because Philadelphia just jump on 95, and 95 north takes you all the way up to MetLife. So you can get there.
So I thought Philly was further than.
No.
I had it wrong.
You can get there like 2.5 hours.
Okay, so that's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
Well, how long would it take you to get to Buffalo? Like an hour and a half then?
From New York?
Yeah. For you, if you were going to drive to that game, how long would it take?
If I was going to drive to Buffalo, it would take me like 7 hours.
For real?
Yeah, Buffalo's upstate New York. I live in Pennsylvania. I live deep.
I thought you lived in Jersey.
No, I take. That's why I always laugh when people said you're such a fake fan. I went to the town hall, and I literally said it on my live stream. I had to take my Jeep to a train, to a rickshaw, to a cab, to a walking. You don't know what a rickshaw is?
No, what's that?
It's the bicycles that they pedal and they have the seat in the back.
Oh, and they pedal you, they drive you.
And I did that.
How was that? Is that a nice ride? Is that pretty kind of relaxing? No,
thought you were gonna die because I was in rush hour traffic in Manhattan in a rickshaw, and the guy thought he was bulletproof. So no, it was not. It was not a good ride. It was not a good ride. But you have 4 out of 5 winnable games.
Well, listen, I don't think that we're going to argue again. Like I said, week 1, it's week 1. Those games are there. Week 4, I give us the upper hand because we played them last year. The Buffalo game, I think there's a lot of pressure riding on that game. So I think that Daboll and Shane, I think they want to make sure that they're ready because they want to prove it. And then Green Bay, I mean, look, we don't know what Green Bay is going to be, but I'm assuming that they're not going to be as good as when Aaron Rodgers was there, unless Jordan Love becomes what Aaron Rodgers was his first year starting after in 2008, and he threw for 4,000 yards and 30-something touchdowns. So I think that's a winnable game as well. So 4 out of 5.
We have a PSA for Rob.
Gentlemen, what brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
So whatever. We had that PSA in there for Rob.
Oh, whatever. Look, that's a legitimate. That's a legitimate thing there. Okay,
you are the one that also went on Twitter and apologized. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, but I had a good reason to apologize.
There's no reason ever to apologize unless it's to your wife.
Yeah, but I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know. I know. Listen, we're right now. We know what kind of. All right, we won't get into that.
we got Big Don already sitting out there gifting memberships. That's good way, Big Don.
Big Don.
Big Don. It's a wiffle ball bat. I like wiffle ball. I play wiffle ball. I don't know what we're talking about, but I play wiffle ball. My son's heavily.
I played a wiffle ball a time or two in my day.
My son's heavily in wiffle ball. We got Max on the beats here. We got Big Stu dropping and say, Tim and Rob, what's up? We got Zach. Don't mess with Zach, of course, as we all know.
Is the Googler.
Zach is the Googler. We have to find the Googler sound effects.
Bro, when you did that voice, it made me remember from Home Alone 2 when he did the recording. Hi, this is Peter McAllister, the father.
With the refrigerator.
With the key.
With the key.
Credit card, you got it.
Michael says Pro Football Focus, the venerable Pro Football Focus season simulator puts the Giants at 11-6. Evidently,
awesome.
they're hanging out with Rob.
Listen, I have changed my floor as of right now. When I look at this, we'll get into it after. Let's get caught up and we'll get into it.
Let's get caught up because of the fact that and it's also funny because I think Zach. Wait, he did. Zach sent me something. Zach the Googler. If I had a crack staff, it would be Zach. He sent me something about Pro Football Focus. Hold on. Let me go to Twitter here. Twitter. What did Zach say? Zach sent me. The Zach Attack sent me. He said Pro Football at scan. Pro Football Network ranks the Giants defense among the worst. We're gonna get into that also, but I'm not going to get into season predictions in May because, we haven't gone through training camp. We haven't seen any injuries. We don't know what other teams are doing. But so May is a little early for season predictions. But you know what? If I was to predict the New York Giants season right now, I have them 19-0 because we're just going to win 2 extra games. What the hell? Because in a 17-game schedule.
Let's do it.
That's
just baby.
Freaking awesome we are.
Let's do it, baby.
Michael says 2.5 hours to Philly from MetLife.
Wait, would it be 19-0 now, or would it be 20-0? It'd be 20-0 now, right?
I was going to be 20-0.
Wasn't it? Oh no, it's not. My bad. Because I had to rethink the saying that I love: 18 wins, 1 giant loss. I had to go back and remember that quote. Sorry.
Just remember that. Michael says it is 2.5 hours to Philadelphia. It is 2.5 hours. Yeah, like I said, I can make it to MetLife. I'm like 40 minutes, 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia, but I'm kind of like in a weird direction. So it's about the same. I get to MetLife in about 2.5 hours when I drive. Now, when I go to New York, it takes me about 4 hours to get there. So that's why going to New York on a Wednesday for the Giant town hall was a little bit of a trek. OGR Sports says, my ears and ringing. Don't forget, I'm from Connecticut. Oh, yeah, that's right. OGR is from Connecticut. I love this one from Michael. Geography is not Rob's strong suit. Buffalo is further than Philly. From Westchester, it's like 6.5 hours. I'm glad we're doing the geography lesson today.
Yeah, let's do that. Clearly I need to better myself in geography.
Stu says Buffalo is about 6.5 hours from Brooklyn. Zach says Rob from North Jersey. Buffalo is about a 5.5 hour drive. Rob, yeah, it's like 6 hours. Here we go, Mike Lee. Never apologize on Twitter.
Listen, you got to put the context. You don't have to.
There is no context. I love PTA's response to your video.
What did he say?
You didn't see what he said?
No.
I'll let you go back and watch what Pestianalis said about that.
Oh, shut up, Rob.
About apologizing when he basically said, I apologize for shit.
Oh yeah. No, well, that was for a different one.
It was actually tagged on your apology video. That's why he's going to go back and look. That's why I now, we have a new co-host next week. It's going to be PTA coming in here because he doesn't apologize. We got Jersey Beaner in the house. We got El Gigante. We're going to talk about him. Let's see here. Maximum meeting the NYG. No excuses this year, but I believe we got this. I hope we got it. Very confident team going into this. And, Rob, I don't think there shouldn't be a reason for everyone's a confident team in May. Because everyone, the dangerous David Sills in May is a Pro Bowler for the last 3 years, so everyone's confident in May. Let's just get on the field, and I don't mean on the practice field with you're just running around with just shorts and your practice jersey. Let's just get on the field and let these guys. Yeah. Let's see what they got.
Well, they seem, I mean, I don't know. I just from the little bits and pieces, that I caught like on Twitter and stuff like that, people posting and whatnot, things that surfaced, like they seem, I'll say this, and you could probably test this because you were there, you've been on the field, you've seen these players, like there's definitely a different aura in the locker room, in the building, with this new staff and with the players than there was in 2020 and 2021. I think they're a little bit more of a confident group. I think they're more like I saw, part of video where, Hattie took them out to, to the roller rink just to spend time with each other. We didn't see anything like that, when Judge was there. We didn't see any of that stuff. Not saying that it didn't go on, but like we didn't hear about it. I think the players are bought in. I think Daves has done a really, really good job in getting the players to believe in themselves versus them needing like outside people to believe in them, You know what I mean? Like they believe in themselves. They believe in what they have. And it shows like the way they respond, the way they carry themselves on the field. One thing that we don't really talk about and at all, like I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this. In 2020 and 2021, we were like one of the most penalized teams in the National Football League. And it was self-inflicted wounds, false starts, all of that stuff. In 2022, like, Well, and when I mean by self-inflicted wounds, I mean they came in like really, really like bad situations.
Right.
Like there was no mental toughness there. In 2022, we were not really penalized that much. Like that part improved. Like the sloppy football was really improved. And I don't really hear a lot of people talking about that. Would you agree that was the case in 2022? There was less penalties that you saw that set us back.
I heard about in 2021 and 2020 and 2021 is how we were going to be the most disciplined team on the field. That Joe Judge, the disciplinarian, was going to come in and make this team. If anything, we were going to be disciplined. And I'm going to tell you this about the penalties. Penalties are like women, except until you get married. They come and they go. You are going to reach a streak. I'm going to be honest about this. I've been watching football since '76. You're going to have a team that is going to have like no penalties. That they're going to go through a season where they are least penalized team, and then the next year with the same coaching staff, you have 50 penalties.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. It's the situation, and yes, teaching mental toughness, and yes, having people discipline. But discipline is great when you're on the practice field. Discipline is great when you're in the locker room. But when you get on the field, emotions run high. You have the physicality, and as a former player, I could tell you this: sometimes things get the better of you, and
your adrenaline is going,
and things happen. So yes, I definitely agree that they were not as penalized as they were, but I'm not going to use that as a caveat this year because, like I said, it could change. It could be the same coaching, and it doesn't mean that the coach is not doing his good job. It's not mean that Bobby Johnson, the offensive line, is not doing his job. It's just sometimes you just get bad calls. Because I will tell you this about the Giants season. There were I could think of at least 8 separate penalties that could have been game-changing for the Giants that weren't called. That penalties that could have gone.
Where they weren't called on the Giants, you mean?
That were not called on the Giants. That could have got. You go right to Darnay Holmes in the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, true.
So you're going to have these streaks and you're going to have these things. And like I said, and if we do have more penalties this year, I don't think it's going to be indicative of the coaching staff. And I also think a lot of times you get penalized as a team. And I do think the 2020, 2021 team probably was penalized more because you got a lot of guys that were playing that probably shouldn't have been playing in the NFL, that probably shouldn't have been starting. So when you have guys like that, you are going to accrue more penalties as your talent level escalates. You hopefully get less penalties, and then you also have players like Andrew Thomas, who becomes an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler and all that. And as he gets better and better, it's one of those things that it's a lot of times you get less penalties called on you because of the fact that you have a lot of officials not really looking your way because that's Andrew Thomas. He plays the game right. He plays the game right. We got a big big super sticker from the Super.
You love your stickers.
I do love my stickers. I said that before. I love stickers.
Bro, one show you got to bring your sticker book. Like you have to show your sticker book.
You know what the saddest part is? I still have my sticker. I do. My mom saved.
I bet you do.
My mom saved my sticker book. We got the big L Gigante saying, "What's up, fellas? 10 of the guys who are always late. Rob, just hop on 95 and you are there." Big L, I'm gonna text you later because we have the suite booked for the Thunder game. So I'll give you the dates, and we're gonna do.
Thank you, L, for keeping me in check. Appreciate
it. We're gonna do for the people that live in the tri-state area or Central Jersey area. There's a baseball team called Trenton Thunder. They're a minor league team, and we usually get suites over there, and we kind of hang out. So we're gonna do a day, and we're gonna have people come out where you get to hang out with me in the suite. We were gonna do it last year, but it was turned into a family event because we had too many people. But we're going to do a day or we're going to do a game or two. So if you're in the tri-state area in July and August, we'll give more information. You can come out to the ballpark for free and hang out in the online Big Blue Suite. That's going to be a lot of fun. I love this by Michael. Confusing Rob isn't hard. It's all about love.
Mike's an ass.
It's all about love. Stu says 18 and one big giant loss.
He texted me too. He's like, it must be hard having no sense of space and time and direction.
I never have that. Giants man, Tim, the DJ video and the question, chat about it. I don't think there's much to chat about. I mean, I posted it online. I asked Daniel Jones a question. Wait, can we play just the audio? Hold on here. Because I can't pull up the video because it's too big. Let's see. Let's play the audio real quick if I can. Can I play the audio? Should have, could have, would have.
Wants to come in, work hard. You know, he's asking all the right questions. Wants to know where to be, when to be there, and you know, so that's been great. You can tell he's fast. You can see the speed. Kind of leaps off the tape at you. So I'm excited to keep working with him.
Next question.
Papa hates
Thanks,
me.
everyone. Mr. Jones, I'm heavily into social media, and I have to admit I've probably been one of your harshest critics. On YouTube, on Twitter, and I'm not going to deny it. You've had a renaissance. You had a turnaround last year.
They're not shouting air ball.
That's only what my wife says. But you've really turned around your season in 2022. What are your expectations coming into 2023 with all the changes to the roster, bringing in Paris Campbell, bringing in Jalen Hyatt?
Lift out Darren Waller, by the way.
I know he's on stage.
What do you expect?
Bro, if I was Waller, I'd be like, what the fuck am I, Tim? Chopped liver?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all
Stay
have
healthy.
really high
He was sitting right there. You didn't even mention his name.
the whole offense, the whole defense as a team. We have tremendously high expectations, but I think we understand, you know, the way we're going to get there is focus on what's immediately in front of us and what we're doing day to day. So, you know, I think we can be a great team. I know we can be a great team, and we're putting in the work now to get there.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So that was it. I mean, like I said, it was, and people either you either bashed me for asking the question, or I got bashed for not asking a tough enough question. And I thought it was a fair.
You're never going
question.
to please everybody.
You never are. But I thought it was a fair question.
It's a good question. It's a good question. Obviously, he didn't answer it the way you probably, wanted him. Look, that question is for him to talk about goals, obviously, that he has for himself, which is a selfish, it would be a selfish response, right?
Right.
He answered it in the proper way, which is making it about the team versus making it about himself. Something a quarterback should do.
Well, my only concern was, a lot of people pointed this out, and they pointed it out in the Twitter space. Yeah, yesterday. And it wasn't that. It was, if you watch the video, when I asked the question, you have to actually look at his face, because his face was like, when I asked it, and then all of a sudden he grabs his side, and I forgot who was at the airport that was yelling, and he was right. He grabbed his stomach and he was answering like this. All the other questions that he asked, because they were all softball questions, he just sat there. He put his hand on his leg, but as soon as that question came up, he started rocking back. I forgot who said it on your live, your Twitter space.
Maybe it was Sal. It might have been Sal or
whoever was
like
in the airport going to Texas. That's who I thought.
Whoever. Oh no, Sal's not going to Texas.
No,
So
somebody was at the airport there.
Might have been Manny. Might have been Manny or something like that.
I think it was Manny, but I thought that was interesting, because I've had a bunch of people point that out, that was not a tough question, and his response was a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
His body language, I guess people were saying, was a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you tell a lot from body language.
Yes.
Body language is like the fact of having to move and rock. Like I always tell my kids, if you start fidgeting, it's because you're trying to think of something to say to appease me, to get out of me. I did the same thing to my parents. I would fidget, I'd look around, I'd get nervous. I move my fingers. You do that when you fidget, it's because you're nervous about answering it.
Exactly.
And so, look, I think it's safe to say that I think right now, when it comes to Daniel Jones, he's been paid, right? So we can't do anything about it, but we have to all have expectations. And my expectations, based upon the teams that we're playing and the defenses and all the teams that we're playing, can score points. They can all score points. Buffalo can score points. Miami can score points. Seattle can score points. 49ers can score points. Dallas can score points. Philly can score points. So we need to be able to score. And at this point, I said this yesterday in a space, and I somewhat believe this. I think when you look at collectively our unit that we have between the running back, the tight ends, the wide receivers, you could argue that we have a better collective variety of weapons that he has to throw to than some of these top quarterbacks that we look at or we try to say are better, and stuff like that. You got Josh Allen in Buffalo, right? He's got the rookie tight end in Kincaid, but he's got Stephon Diggs. Who does he have after that? He really doesn't have much as far as decent talent, past that. When you look at Justin Herbert, right? I mean, those guys can't necessarily stay healthy. You look at Patrick Mahomes, look what he was able to do with the guys that he had, Juju Smith-Booster or Boo Smith-Schuster. You know, like he didn't have good guys. When you look at Trevor Lawrence, who's an up-and-coming guy, threw for 4,000 yards. He had Christian Kirk, that was the 4th best wide receiver on the Arizona Cardinals. Got a big payday that everybody was shitting the brick. He's the only weapon. Now you got Calvin Ridley, hasn't played there in 2 years. Who knows what he's going to do? And then everybody knows Evan Ingram, right? So when you look at what we've got, you know, you got Paris Campbell, you got Darius Slayton, you just drafted Jalen Hyatt, you know, you got Isaiah Hodgins now in a full offseason, Darren Waller, Daniel Bellinger, you know, Eric Gray that you drafted in the 5th round, Saquon Barkley that you've got there, you know, more likely an improved offensive line, right? So the era for the excuses are over. And then I posted a video late last night because I couldn't sleep. And I was like going through YouTube and there was like big hits. And I came up to a video that I posted, which was like Joe Burrow, and it was T. Higgins. He got lit up. But I posted it not because of the hit, but because of what Joe Burrow did. And I've been saying this for weeks now. Wide receivers, good wide receivers, do not help a quarterback move in the pocket to avoid pressure, to buy time. The quarterback does that. And on that play, Joe like literally stepped to the side, moved up, set his feet, threw the ball into a tight window. T. Higgins got lit up, but it wasn't about the fact that he got lit up. It was about the fact that he moved up, moved to the right, moved up, set his feet, threw the ball into a tight window. T. Higgins would have caught it or not. T. Higgins would have caught that, got hit. Joe would have gotten all the praise, for it. But unfortunately, T. Higgins dropped it. But it was that play. Like, I want to see that kind of stuff from Daniel Jones this year. I don't want the excuse to be like, oh, Evan Neal isn't producing. Oh, JMS is a rookie. Oh, Mark Lewinsky. Like, you need to be able to maneuver in the pocket and make the play. So the expectations for me is I think he needs to have over 4,000 yards, over 30 collective touchdowns, and he needs to be leading this team to score points.
Well, yeah,
You know,
we talked about that last week. What we thought his expectations and stats would be, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Michael says, "Tim, great show as always. We got Mike Lee coming in, but Judge, that's a say sore, which is a dramatic pause. Had a pizza party.
Ooh,
that was after.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Hey, Michael says, beat Dallas week 1. It's off to the Ravens this year, and it's off to the Ravens this year. Lose a game, 9 wins will be a struggle. Momentum for a division will rival would propel them. I've said this.
I think
before.
he meant to say races.
Yeah, I know. But
he must have been typing on his phone. Autocorrect.
That's fine. I've said this before. You don't win or lose a season in week 1. You know. There's no coach that that loses week 1 and goes, fuck, I ain't gonna play the other 16 games because we're screwed. No,
Yeah, but not every team's the Giants, though.
It's week 1.
Yeah, but would you agree that?
No, I don't need to hear what you're gonna say. It is week 1.
But you don't think a loss?
I've seen
there
0-2, 0-3, and win a Super Bowl. What happened to the 2007 Giants? How many points did they give up the first 4 weeks of the season?
Oh, but yes, but again, when I'm looking at when I look at the 07, like the team that team is completely built different than what this team is. Like, we had cornerstone pieces almost at every position, offensive line, defensive line. Eli coming in, I think that was his 4th year, when that happened. Plexico, Toomer, so you had Shockey was still there. So you had guys there. I think with this team, with how young it is, and with the young players that you need to have them produce, if they were to lose that game with the investments and everything like that they did, and Daniel Jones getting paid, and Saquon Barkley no contract, but he comes back on the tag, I think with the teams that are coming up, yeah, I think that could make it rough for that first 10 weeks. But if you get a win.
What happened? The 2006 Giants? What was the 2006 Giants record? To
start?
No. Just what was their record?
They were 10-6 in 07, I believe.
No, not 10. Not in 07. 2006.
The year before?
No, 4 years before. Yes, 1 year after. People say I'm bad at math.
I don't know. Weren't they like
they
9-7?
No, they were 8-8.
Okay.
So expectations were running high in 2007 because you had people coming back, and then we get blown out. What do we lose? We lose in 2007. We lost in that Dallas game. We
Yeah.
lost the Dallas game. I think we lost the Dallas game. It was like 45-35. And then we had Green Bay at home, got smoked
by Brett Favre.
35-13. So we had given up in 2 games 80 points.
Mm-hmm.
Did Tom Coughlin, Michael Strahan, and everyone else just say, fuck it. We lost these 2 games. Spagnola's a bum. Let's just give up. No, because you want to know why? Because you had leaders not only in the team, but you also had Tom Coughlin, who was a good enough coach to understand that he needed to adjust his philosophy. And I remember the 2000 season vividly, where they basically just said, we are going to stay with what we're doing. We're not gonna panic. We're not gonna switch. And that's what good teams do. So to put all the eggs in the proverbial week 1 basket tells me a lot of people don't have confidence in this team during the long haul, because they're already, and I'm not saying you, and I've heard other people say this, but they're already making excuses. Well, if we lose week 1, we're in so much trouble. No,
Yeah,
you lose week 1, you lose week 1. You go to week 11 and you keep losing bad games that you should win, then there's a problem. You lose on week 1. Week 1 happens. It happens. It's week 1. Tennessee Titans lost to the Giants week 1 because of the fact that they didn't play anyone in preseason, and still, even with all the problems, they had made the playoffs. Did they quit?
Did they make the playoffs? Tennessee didn't make the playoffs.
I don't remember. Well, if I remember, it sounded good though.
No, but Tennessee, they didn't start off good last year after they lost to us.
They played 0 people during preseason.
Well, I guess this is what I guess what I'm saying is, like, in that game that you brought up against Dallas in 07, when we lost 45, I think it was actually like 38-35.
No, I was right. Hold on. No, I was right. 45-35.
45-35. So it was still a shootout. Like, we put up points, right? Let's just say that
we didn't put up points really till the end of the game.
But let's just say that same thing happens, right? Like right now. I think even if we lost that game, but we were able to put up 35 points, like, what was Eli's stats in that game?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had the game log there.
I don't know what Eli's stats were that game.
Oh, I didn't know if you had like the game log there. But
No,
I think I think he had like close to he threw for a lot. I think he threw for like almost 400 yards in that game. And I think he had like 3 touchdowns.
What the hell are you, Zach? Giants. I don't like Googling things. I usually just go by memory.
I'm pretty sure he had almost like 400 yards in that game and like 3 touchdown passes.
Where the hell's the game log? Let's see here. Touchdown game log. Let's see here. I don't have the game log. Where's the game log? Where's the game? Oh, here, games and stats. Wait a minute. Why come I can't pull this up? Oh, here we go. It's 2000. No, where's the game log to pull it up? No, let's see here. Expectation.
It was in 2007, right? But the Super Bowl was in 2008.
Well, the Super Bowl is always in the next year.
So it's September 7th, September 9th.
It was September 9th at Dallas. Yeah, it's the Super Bowl is always the year after.
Yeah, I got it right here.
All right, so I don't have the game log though. And I don't know where. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Box score. Here we go. And
So he was 28 for 41, 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, but they
312 yards.
But they scored 16 basically garbage points in the fourth quarter. The Giants, because the Giants were already down. Let's see, it was 28-29. They were down 29-19 going into the fourth. And then they scored, and then Dallas scored a bunch of times, and they scored a bunch of garbage.
Well, yeah, but they were down 20. Yeah, 20. I mean, that's a 10-point game. Those aren't garbage points.
No, the points they scored at the end were garbage points.
But that was going into the fourth quarter. You said
right.
29-19.
Dallas already scored another touchdown, so they were down like 20-something points going to the fourth. I mean,
true. What I'm saying is, like, if Daniel came out and put up that kind of performance, like 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, or something like that, or whatever. And we lost by 10, just to show that he can go out there and he could perform and he could do it. I think people would be not okay with the loss, but they would be like, okay, like, clearly you have what it takes. At that point, you could say the defense probably let us down in that game. Like,
the defense let us down this 2 weeks.
Yeah, those 2
They gave up-
weeks.
They gave up 90. They gave up 90 points.
Yeah. So, like, if that something like that would happen again, I don't think the conversation would be about Daniel Jones's performance. It would be about the defense, But if we go out there and we get, let's just say we get beat like 31-13, or something like that. Like, yeah, like I think that would be detrimental to the rest of the, like, at least for the first 10 weeks.
I think Joe Shane. I think Joe Shane and Brian Dable would 100% disagree. Because Brian Dable preached all last year, it's 1 week at a time. He preached that all last year, even after big wins. He came out and said, and that's why I had the Mountain Crush on the table. He said it's one game.
Yeah, but if it was like if we were playing Arizona week 1, I would agree with you 100%. But the fact that you're playing a division game when you went 1-5-1 in your division,
Like, can't you beat them and then split with them and then basically have it 0 out?
yeah, but you can. Yeah, I mean you can. Yeah, but I think if you're going into that first game against Dallas after,
I think way too much expectations in game. A lot of people are going to be disappointed if we lose, and there's no reason to be disappointed. And
I want to see how we perform.
I am
If
always
we lose and we perform well, I don't care.
even if we get blown out.
If we get
one,
if we get blown out in that game and we just don't look like we deserve to be on the same field as them, then I have a serious problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it. And I'm always the bad guy and the harbinger of doom. But and maybe it's because of the fact that I played competitively. You don't put, unless it's later in the season, you don't put all your eggs in week 1's basket, because then you're going to be disappointed. If Daniel Jones throws up a stinker and the Giants lose the game 35-31 and Barkley had a humongous game, you are going to have all the DJ lovers whining and crying in their Cheerios that he's not the man we thought he was going to be. And my dumb ass is going to fucking be here and say, it's week 1. That's what I'm going to say to people. It's week 1. If you're
got a different look on it.
and we're having the same problems, then I'm worried. But you're sitting there week 1, putting all your eggs in this basket, and then something happens. The Giants lose on a fluke play, let's say. And people,
like, if that happens, yeah, no, I'm not going to be upset. But like, if they go out there and get the doors blown off, yeah. When you pay Jones and you brought in Waller and you moved up for Hyatt and you did all of these things, and then you go out there on the field and you just can't, like, you just get your doors blown off.
Mike Tomlin, who was the defensive back coach in Tampa when I was there.
Yeah.
I was in a meeting and with the defensive unit, and I was running the system, and I, and I've heard other coaches say this a million times before, and I've heard Tomlin say it before, and he said it millions of times. The score doesn't matter except for the win and the loss. So if you can win 35-13, you can win 35-34. It doesn't matter what the score is at the end of the day, as long as you have more points than the other guy. So it doesn't matter to me if Daniel Jones has a bad game and we lose by 50, or if he has a bad game and then we, win by 2. It doesn't matter, because it's, I know why. Wait for it. Hold on. Wait for it. Say so. Dramatic pause.
Because it's week 1.
We can agree to disagree on this one.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't agree.
You're wrong, man.
Dude, I don't agree to disagree on anything. You're wrong. We don't get to these here. Zach says, my little brother used to play for the Thunder youth team. We got Big Chris says, I thought Charlie was at the airport. So maybe it was Charlie. That was because
Charlie, Chris, Charlie don't fucking travel.
I don't know who it was. They cracked me up, man.
Charlie sits on his porch smoking his little, 1980s pipe,
I'm dying laughing because he was just screaming, man. I was fucking rocking back and forth like it was birthing a baby. I was like, oh my God, you were right.
Charlie's wild, bro. Charlie's a wild son of a gun.
Big Blue Forever. Tim is a nice guy. He sent a video message to my kid for his birthday. Fuck you. Not a nice guy. Big Tim. What's up, Greg? What's going on, my brother? Yes, I did send someone a video message. Someone asked me, so yes, I did it. Big Greg all said, what this schedule, we might potentially suck, but I'm positively optimistic.
All right, Greg.
I'm optimistic. Greg from Sweden. I'm always optimistic until there's time not to be optimistic. And that's the problem. Oh, yeah, we only got 17 likes. Get the likes.
Yeah, what the fluff?
Get over go, because I didn't tell people to like.
You're dropping the ball, Tim.
You are adults. Like the video. Helps the channel. Helps Rob. It helps his hair.
It's free.
free. It's free content. But like I said, I'm not gonna sit there and stress about the season yet. I'm not gonna worry about the season yet. I'm not gonna worry about the record yet because of the fact that it may look like a tough schedule now. I heard all last year during training camp and everything that we had like a gimme schedule the last like 7 games of the season. I heard that last year, and how did that work out? It didn't work out
Didn't work out very good.
It didn't work out very well. Those gimme games. We almost lost to Texas. We lost to Detroit. We almost lost to the Bears. So yeah, there's no gimme games in the NFL, so we're not gonna worry about it. Michael says, but you beat a rival on a goal line stand. Well, that's fine. You can beat them on goal line stand. We had Zach Tech dropping in the big super chat. What is Zach saying? Rob, the Giants don't win against Dallas, and Dallas in week 1, an extension of the preseason, week 5. 10 is the main issue, still continue to have issues. Yeah, I agree. To me, the game 1 now is an extension of the preseason because no one ever plays. No one really ever plays their starters. And I think like I said, I'm an old timer. So I remember when guys would go like in the 80s, like early 80s, they had like 5 preseason games. And you had people that would play almost starters that would play almost every single down. So I think there's a little bit of a difference there. Let's see here. Let's make sure we don't skip any of these. Michael says, but you beat a rival on a goal line stand. We got that one. Jacksonville made the playoffs, not Tennessee. Thank you. I got those confused. I knew I was getting confused. Joe Rev says, how many 30-point games does Daniel Jones have? Zach, please Google that because I have no idea. We got Zach. I don't think it's many. Zach came in 28 for 42 for 300 yards. That was the Dallas game. James Williams, who went with me to the Giants town hall. Well, it was a good, you know what? The town hall was a good event. I have to give the Giants credit. It was a good event. It was a fun event. You had, like I said, you had a lot of players there. You had a lot of people asking questions. You had the entire brain trust of the Giants up on the stage. You had Mara, you had Shane, you had Dable. It was here we go. You had all the guys up there. You had Bob Papa, you had Sean O'Hara. So like I said, it was a good event. It was a fun event. Did
anybody ask them about Saquon?
No. There was everyone got to the mic and it was a love fest. It was Bob Papa
makes me sick.
Bob Papa would be there and say, okay, we're going to go to the next question.
Yeah, first, I would just like to say that I was a Giant fan since this, and I went to this game, and this game was awesome. And you guys are, like, really awesome. And just out of curiosity, Kayvon Thibodeau, my question for you is, how are you so awesome?
That's basically what it was. That's basically what it was. There was only one dumbass in the crowd of, like, 1,500 people. There was one. Yeah, of course it was me. There was one dumbass in the crowd. I thought the venerable James Williams was going to come up with a big question, but he, I love you, James. I love you, brother, man. James and I had a really good time in New York. We would have had a better time if it wasn't a Wednesday. We also have James. Good morning, boys. Morning with the chat. Let's see here. We got Chris saying, I'm super optimistic in May. Now September, that's a different story. But that's it. At the end of the day, Robbie, like I said, we are in May. I don't know what day in May. 21st. We're in May. Everyone's undefeated in May.
Not hard. You could look in the bottom right-hand corner of your monitor.
No, I can't. I have 3 monitors, and somehow the bar got on this monitor over here. So I can't. I have to look away from the camera. And I don't want to do that because I'm so pretty. But everyone's optimistic in May. James also says May is the month we're in now. Our schedule is tough. I love happy, humble, and hungry. Tim is the goated. I'm the goated. I'm goated and Rob into doing the show, and he's still sitting there going, "What the fuck did I get my total self into?" He had 3 total. So Daniel Jones has had 35. Had 3 total 35 games and 35-point games in 4 years.
How many?
3.
No comment.
No comment there.
No comment there.
James Williams says they got off the stage before I could ask the Barkley question.
Damn it, James.
Damn it, James. And then James comes up to the mic. I think he's going to hit him with a hard question. He goes, I just want to know if you're going to beat Dallas. And that's when Kayvon and everyone. No, it wasn't. A good question would be. Listen,
what did Kayvon say? Primetime called me.
They all say just said yes. You got to hoot and holler for the crowd, and they all just said yes. James, you know what? I laughed, James. What did you call me when I came back to my seat after I asked my question? I don't know if James wants to tell me what he called me when I got back to my seat or get back to the seats. But you know what? It was like I said, we had a good time. I had a good time with James. James is always fun to hang out with. James is my brother. Christopher says, GM guys, everyone in the chat, do the first 4 draft picks play week 1? The first 4.
So it's a Tay, JMS, Hyatt.
Yes.
And is it Gray? Is Gray the next one?
No, he's the 5th. Isn't he in the 5th round? No,
we didn't have a 4th round pick.
We didn't have
so
4th round pick. It would be
the 4th pick.
It would be I think they all have to play.
Yeah, I would say they play.
I think they have to play.
I don't think Hyatt starts, but I think he plays. I don't think Hyatt's starting unless he just is killing it in training camp. But I think Tay and JMS will definitely be starters, 100%.
But his question wasn't if they were starters. His question was, will they play? And I think all 4 will. I think all.
Yeah,
all
yeah. I think all of our draft picks are going to play. I think you'll see Trey Hawkins and probably the Owens guy on special teams.
You hope they all play. I mean,
I think they're going to be on. The special teams count. Special teams count.
Yeah,
I think all the draft picks are going to play.
You're on the field. We're up to 25 likes. Let's make sure we get up that higher. I have faith in join the company, and the Giants will have a good season. I have faith in that too. But because I'm a season ticket holder, so I don't want to go to a bunch of crappy games. James says, Zach, I bet they're all against Washington. That would be Daniel Jones. We got Davey coming and says, hey Tim, every time could win the Super Bowl in May too. Every team can win a Super Bowl in May too. I agree. Everyone can win a Super Bowl in May too. Yeah, you're right. Jeff says, now you can say you spoke with Daniel Jones, and when asked a question, he answered you.
You actually saw him twice, right? You saw him at the draft.
Saw him twice. I got a video.
And you saw him at the town hall.
I always tell people it was great. I turned around, and within a foot of me, there's Daniel Jones.
Bro, that dude that fell in front of Darren Waller, my God.
That was so funny. I wasn't.
Oh, man.
He was trying to – it was an older guy. He was trying to record.
Was that a fan?
I was a fan. He was, and the people were telling you at this thing, let the guys just get through. If you want to take pictures, you want to take video, that's fine. Don't get in front of them. So, of course, he followed him up and he falls down the stairs or falls up the stairs. I thought that was.
Did Waller help him up?
No, the guy
he kept walking.
He didn't just keep walking. The guy that was escorting Darren helped him up.
Stopped and helped him up. But Darren just kept walking though, right?
He waited.
All right.
He waited.
Bro, I mean, if I'm Darren, I'm like, hey, man.
Why are you trying to make Darren out to be a dick?
I'm just saying.
Watch.
No, not dick. Like, that would be, bro, if Darren Waller just kept walking, to me, that's funny. That's some funny shit.
James says, I can't say the word in the chat. So I say my Daniel Jones question. And, I think I'm going to come back to, I think I'm coming back to accolades. I think I'm coming back to this. And I sit down. James looks at me, and I love him because you know what? Nothing ever offends me. And I think it was funny as shit. And I'm going to say it anyways. He looks at me and goes, you're an idiot. That was the response.
To you? He said that to you? I would have said that to you too. I would have been like, bro, you're an idiot, dude.
It was such a deadpan face because he goes to me.
I'll be honest.
You're an idiot.
If you would have told me, because who would you tell them your question was for?
I told him it was Daniel Jones, but initially I didn't say it was. I'm pleading the fifth on this one.
Like, who did you tell him you were going to ask a question?
Initially, I told him Daniel Jones. And then what happened was, since it was a Daniel Jones questions, they were letting people go that are behind me go in front of me. And then she came back and said, who is your question for? And I said, Andrew Thomas. And she goes, okay, well, you're next. So I was like, okay. So technically I didn't lie because initially my question was for Daniel Jones.
If you would have said that your question was for like Andrew Thomas, I would have been like, "You're full of shit. You ain't gonna ask Andrew Thomas if I was there with you." I'd be like, "I know."
James already asked this question. He went and sat down. So as my wife always tells people, for the love of God, please don't leave him unsupervised, because I don't know what he's going to do. My wife literally tells my friends that do not leave him unsupervised.
Oh man.
So I changed. They were letting people go. We were they had some of the rookie. They had Jinglehammer Schmidt. And they had Banks on the stage first. So we waited for those questions because you had to wait in a line.
Did you see that somebody took that from you, by the way?
No, what did they take?
So there was an interview where Brandon London, I think on his like TV network that he does,
Right.
they had JMS on there. And NYG Crush asked a question about, have you ever been called Jingleheimer Schmitz? And he's like, yes, I have, and I don't mind it. And I was like, this fucking girl took fucking Tim's shit, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like,
it's all good. I don't get credit for anything, but that's okay. Bob Papa, though, kind of yelled at me a little bit.
What, at the town hall?
And I don't know if James has it because I stopped recording, but I finished the question. I said, thank you. And Bob Papa goes to Sean O'Hara. He goes, I think I've gotten into it with this guy on Twitter. And then he goes, what's your handle? And I told him, I said, it's Online Big Blue 1. And he's like, oh yeah, you and I have gotten into it on Twitter. He's kind of giving me the look. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm walking away, I was like, Bob, I've never talked to you on Twitter. I don't think you know who I am, but okay. Because people are like, they knew who you were. I'm like, they didn't know who the fuck I was. They had no idea. They had no idea who I was.
No.
But I just thought it was funny that Bob swore.
Now, if it was Carl, like I'd believe that. If it was
Carl would probably know who I am because I've gotten into a couple times with Carl.
Yeah.
But Bob was like,
Carl knows everybody. Carl knows everybody.
He was like, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. But I guess my best friend called me an idiot. So Rob, they did not look confident after my Dallas question. I thought they did. I thought they looked confident. I really did.
They better be fucking confident. That's all I'm saying.
Davies, what is Davies says? If we had 6 wins and all those wins were against the Eagles, Dallas, and the Redskins, they would not be Commanders for me. To me, that would be a successful season. I don't care if we go 3-3 in the division and make the playoffs. I'm fine with that. If we, like I said, to me, divisional games, Rob, of course, are always important. But
to me, they need to win 3 games in the division.
Split the division, I'm happy.
They need to go. I think for me, I expect them to have 3 wins in the division.
Yeah, I think I'm happy.
I think they need to.
Christopher says 10-5 is our record if we stay healthy with no major injuries. Isn't that only 15 games?
I think we can go. I think if everybody stays healthy, my floor is 9-8. My ceiling is 11-6.
I don't know yet. I haven't given any questions. How do I claim the memberships, Tim? Thanks. I don't know. Big Don is always giving out memberships, and I love Big Don. We're gonna have Big Don. If those that do not know, Big Don was on the draft party as well. I'm gonna have Big Don come in where I'm here, so we can chit chat. Very knowledgeable, Giant fan, good follower and fan and friend of the channel. So I don't know. I really don't know how any of this works. Davey says, Tim, your wife and my wife could be friends. Make sure they don't meet.
That was funny.
Yeah, I'm not lying. My wife literally tells my friends whatever back in the day, it was even worse, but she used to tell them, don't leave him alone. Don't leave him unsupervised because you literally will never know what the hell is going to happen or what he is going to do. Which is always true. James Williams says, only commander I know is Cobra Commander. Cobra. Tim and I were in the middle of the tribe. We can say the Redskins. Yes, we're part of the tribe. I'm not going to tell that's an internal joke between James, his girlfriend, and my family, but I'm not going to get into that because that's an internal joke about that. We got Face Green Smiling from R0B.
Oh, it's a laugh face. I was laughing to Davies' comment.
Okay, and R0B says face screen smiling. That's always a good thing. We don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Davey says, I'm afraid that that people would think when you ask what's your handle before Twitter, that what you would think of. Well, I would say, what's your handle? My handle, of course, is
Carlos Spicy Wiener.
That's my handle. Or Pigpen or the Rubber Duck, because we got ourselves a convoy. James Williams says, hit that chat. Hit that like button. Joe Rev says, Tim, is it me or does Don sound like Gecko? Which of the Gecko? The Geico Gecko.
The Geico Gecko.
Which one, Don? No, Don. Does Don sound like the Geico Gecko?
I don't know. To me,
Don, you were on the show with him for 4 hours.
I mean, he's got a. To me, if I had to take a guess, to me, he sounds more like somebody from like Harry Potter.
Okay, I've never. Now, let's say someone has a life and they've never seen a Harry Potter movie. Pick something else.
If you haven't seen Harry Potter, fine, Steve Irwin.
Oh, okay. Crocodile Hunter.
Fucking unbelievable.
Sorry, I have a life. I don't watch Harry Potter.
You know who fucking Harry Potter is.
I have never seen a Harry Potter movie.
You're so full of crap.
Nope.
You don't know who he is?
I know who he is, but I've never seen the movie.
Oh my god.
I've never seen any of the Lord of the Rings. I've never watched.
I'm not a Lord of the Rings.
I have never watched The Sopranos. Never seen Breaking Bad. Never seen Harry Potter.
You gotta watch Harry Potter, man.
Never seen Game of Thrones.
No, I don't watch that either.
I've never seen any of these things. I've never watched Seinfeld.
Use your projector and watch all the Harry Potter movies today.
That's too much effort. No, they're like 4 hours long, aren't they?
No, they're not.
Oh,
they're like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
2 hours. That's too long.
Oh.
I watched the movie with Adam Driver yesterday, 65, which is 65 million, I assume. And it was great because it was like an hour and 37 minutes long. Held my attention span for that hour and 30 because I get bored. So it held my attention span for those hour and 30 minutes. That was 90 minutes. And then I was done. It was great.
You know what I've been wanting to do? Like, I've been really wanting to watch like the old, like Steven Seagal movies, like Above the Law and stuff like that. I've been kind of like wanting to watch those movies.
See, those are good. Those are good. Let's get back to the Giants, though. James is just smiling and laughing. Mike Lee says, how things have changed. You still need supervision. Yes, everyone knows I need supervision.
That's never going to change.
That's never going to change because I wander. Shockingly, I wander and I get into situations and I love it because people will tell me, friends that I've known for years, I'll tell them stories and stuff, or they'll be there and people are like, that didn't happen. And my friends will be like, listen, the wildest story could happen. And if Tim told it, it's true. Because they'll be like, I've seen shit happen to him standing right next to him that it's just like would not happen to normal people because I literally talk to everybody. Davey also says, R.I.P. Jim Brown. Jim Brown. Rest in peace. I've said this before. I've met Gale Sayers and Jim Brown. We got a Gale Sayers autograph right up there, and I have a Jim Brown autograph as well. Two of the greatest running backs in NFL history. Also, an activist. Basically gave up his NFL career to not just be in movies, but just he felt it was time. He left at the pinnacle of his career, kind of like what Barry Sanders did. But Jim Brown at that point in time was more of a, was more into politics and everything else, and in the movies, The Dirty Dozen. He did a whole bunch of other films. So it was a guy that says he's NFL royalty. If you had to pick NFL royalty for the Giants, Rob, who would be your New York Giants NFL royalty? If you had, let's say, three guys.
Three. I'll just go off of ones that I could probably remember. And because you could probably come up with names maybe better than one or two of the guys that I mentioned. I'll say LT, Strahan, and Eli.
Yeah.
Those would be royalty to me.
I would say as in modern day. Yeah, that's
because I feel like those guys could go anywhere and you're going to know who those people are.
Right. But royalty to me also doesn't have to be someone that is recognizable. Because I think a lot of time, and there was someone on Twitter that posted the best wide receivers and running backs in Giant history. And I went on Twitter and I commented and said, you understand that Giant history goes further back than 1995.
Yeah.
Because you left out Hall of Famers for the Giants. If you think of the Giants, the first thing that comes to my mind always is going to be Frank Gifford. because Frank Gifford was the Giants for 10 years. He put the Giants on the map, and then you go to someone like Lawrence Taylor, because Lawrence Taylor was, is the pinnacle of success for the Giants. And then, like I said, then I think if you're going to stay in the modern era, you're right. I think you got to either go with Strahan or Eli, because I think those two, really stood above, everywhere else. And we got Davey saying NFL royalty that I see is Manning, Lawrence Taylor, and Toomer. Toomer was a good player. He was a very good player for the Giants, but I don't see him being NFL royalty. I mean, I don't think he's Giants royalty. James Williams says these players today are nothing without the real struggles. Of course, it's Jim Brown. You got Mike Lee coming in. Oh, Mike Lee's going old school. Chuck and Charlie Conley. Also, Chuck and Charlie. Rob, do you know Charlie Conley, 2-time NFL MVP for the league, for the quarterback for the Giants? Plus, he was NFL champion with the Giants. Do you know what he's also known for?
I do not.
Chuck and Charlie Conley of the New York Giants is the original Marlboro Man.
Like the cigarettes?
Cigarettes. He is the cowboy on the he is the original Marlboro Man cowboy. For most people don't know that. He did the original ads for that. We got James Williams coming in, Gifford, LT, and Eli. We also have we got Chris coming in. I don't know for royalty. Y.A. Tittle, LT, and Strahan. Y.A. Tittle was also another New York Giant quarterback who won the MVP. Took the Giants to a couple championship games. Everyone remembers the bald eagle on the field after that final loss, with his sitting there all bloodied. I got a Tittle autograph helmet for that was my father's favorite player.
Did Phil Simms ever win a league? No, right? He never won.
No, he never won a league MVP. He won the Super Bowl MVP, of course, and he also won the same year the Pro Bowl MVP. Little no.
So when's the last time we've had? Was Y.A. Tittle the last Giants quarterback to win MVP?
Last Giant quarterback, yes, was Y.A. Tittle.
Wow.
To win an MVP. We actually technically he won 2, but it was a split, because back then they had 2 MVP awards, 2 predominant MVP awards, and I forget who won the one and Tittle won the other. Then the year after that, he won both. He won so technically he has like a co-winner, I guess, because it's just weird. It's back in the 60s. It was weird because you had the NFL award, then you had like a prestigious writers award. So it was kind of weird. David,
he's the first back-to-back.
No, Charlie Conley was.
So he's the second back-to-back.
He's the second one. Davey says I only mentioned Toomer because he never got his due. I think Imani, it's not a Toomer, was a great Giant. I think he was an awesome Giant. I think was he a true, Rob, would you say that Imani was a true number 1 for the? I mean, just in the league, if Imani Toomer was on any other team in this league, and I'm not bashing Imani Toomer because I love Imani Toomer, but if he was on any other team besides the Giants during that tenure, would he be wide receiver 1?
You might be able to make an argument for a few teams, but I think Imani Toomer was a solid, like well above average, number 2, like a number 2 wide receiver. Because, Plexico was the number 1 consensus number 1 when he was here for a couple of years before the Super Bowl, and Imani was the number 2. Yeah, Imani was on the back end of his career, but yeah, I think when it comes down to it, I think Imani was a solid number 2 on any other roster. We just didn't really have.
We didn't have the wide receiver talent.
We didn't have the wide receiver talent that was there. And you can argue, some people may argue that Shockey was the number 1 wide receiver and Toomer was the number 2 wide receiver when he was there.
In 2007, until Shockey got hurt. Yeah, I agree. And people forget, Toomer played 13 years, had only 5,000-yard seasons in the 13 years he played with the Giants.
Yeah. So
and it was all
Toomer just had big moments. He just had like big moments that make people remember him. Like in 1998 against the Broncos, the long touchdown in the playoffs against the Dallas Cowboys. Like he just had moments where he stood out, and he was a good veteran. He did it right. Imani Toomer definitely did it right 100%. And you don't really, I don't know, maybe you like, I don't really see him a lot, like around the organization or stuff like that.
I don't see him a lot around I see Victor Cruz all the time.
Yeah. Like, I don't know why Imani Toomer's not there more.
Victor Cruz lives in MetLife on game day. Now you got to remember with Monty Toomer also, he had 2 seasons where he had 0 touchdowns and 1, and his high is 8. So it's one of those guys. He kind of falls into a weird perspective because you're right. I think he's a player of moments, and I also think he had a good 5-year stretch with the Giants. But I do think that he was the option, the number 1 option, because he was the best wide receiver we had. But if you would have placed him on another team, he may have been a 2. He could have potentially been a 3 on a really, really good team.
Yeah.
And I don't, that's not Amani's fault because he produced with the talent he had around him. I just don't think that he is he definitely deserves his due. He definitely deserves his moment, but he's definitely not on the Rushmore of Giant wide.
You could argue right now Darius Slayton is probably this modern day Amani Toomer. You could make it because Slayton is a player of moments. Like he's not a world beater. He's probably a solid number 2. I mean, he just has moments. He has, plays where he, like in Houston, against Houston, where he takes it, for a long touchdown, stuff like that. And then he has, stupid moments. Amani had stupid moments too.
Amani did have stupid moments. Question about Darius Slayton, because I love Darius Slayton. A lot of people give him so much crap. Mm-hmm. And he does have, in 4 years, he's got 3 seasons over 700 yards. He's been that consummate professional. He only played in 13 games in 2021. He only started 11 games last year. If Darius Slayton, and everyone always says it's the quarterback, the quarterback makes the wide receiver. Is Darius Slayton a better wide receiver if he's on a team with Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrows, or somebody else?
I think that. This is a real question, like a real answer. Yeah, I think that he would look better. Like I think he would look better, and that's mainly because I think like if you put Darius Slayton on the Kansas City Chiefs right now with Patrick Mahomes, oh yeah, he would look like a number 1 guy. He would look like a top tier guy that was taken in the 5th round or something like that. He would look like, he would look like another Tyreek Hill, or something like that. Like he'd be making big plays, stretching it down the field, scoring touchdowns, 1,000-yard seasons. And stuff like that. Like I just think like right now with the situation that he's in, he's not like it's just it just comes down to the quarterback. Like if you put him on any other team, I think he would have a little bit more success. I think the quarterback makes it, and the situation makes it, but the quarterback helps the situation. Right. I think you put anybody on Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes is going to make him look fantastic.
Don't forget to hit the like button. We need to get up the likes. The likes are way down today, guys. Come on. We have at least 35 likes. Come on, people. Chris says, rather have a Super Bowl MVP than a league MVP. I agree with that 100%. Christopher says, the Giants need to go deep often and have players except to be their number 1 wide receiver. I said this before, and it was funny because I did want to get up and ask Brian Dable a question, because I did have the question about, are you going to go more vertical this year? And I thought that was a fair question. Again, I don't think any questions that I asked Daniel Jones was bad. And I think this would have been a fair question to Brian Dable. You added Waller, who of course was on stage. You added
who you avoided.
Listen.
Or forgot about.
I actually forgot about. You've brought in 3 guys in Waller, Campbell, and Hyatt that should help you stretch the field.
Not to mention bringing back Slayton.
But I'm talking about new guys you brought in.
But they still brought him back.
Right, they did bring him back. But you have 3. You brought in 3 guys to add to the mix with Slayton, who have the potential to stretch the field, and you also have Barkley, who has a potential to stretch the field. I mean, is it fair assessment, Rob? And we've talked about this before, that if you're bringing in big play capable guys, that you need to go
a vertical.
I don't think I agree with you. I don't think that it's wrong to say, like everybody, like I hear some people say it all the time, like, oh, the offense is going to be the same. They're just going to take a few more shots. I don't think you go and you move up for a Jalen Hyatt. You sign a guy like Paris Campbell. You trade for a guy like Darren Waller.
Pay him $11 million.
And if you don't plan on stretching the football down the field, like I don't I don't see you doing that. It just doesn't make any sense. So, to me, like, yeah, I anticipate that they are going to try to stretch the ball down the field, and hopefully it works. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays together, right? Like right now, when you really think about it, you have Waller that can stretch the field, Campbell that can stretch the field, Slayton that can stretch the field, Hyatt that can stretch the field, right? Now you've got Wan'Dale Robinson that can go underneath, under the middle. You got Isaiah Hodgins that can work the outside. Bellinger can work the inside. Barkley can work can work underneath or swings and stuff like that. Like right now, the Giants are offensively could be set up very well where they could do a plethora of different things from an offensive perspective, right? And so I still would like them to go ahead and add another weapon offensively. We've been talking about it. Like I've been hearing rumblings that they're still in communication with Arizona for D-Hop. I would not be opposed to it. I think that they, from what I'm seeing, like, and the decisions, like they're trying to go all in. They want to maximize on what they can do. And I think if you add a guy like a DeAndre Hopkins, I think it totally opens up the offense. I don't think he's coming here, but I mean, if they were in the communication and it came up to a second round pick or third, like what's a second round pick? Wan'Dale Robinson,
But the problem is you are already heading into a salary cap problem. You can't bring it unless you're going to bring him in and renegotiate his contract and extend out guaranteed money over a few more years. You don't, and Joe King wants to have $10 million in operational cap space. That's not going to happen. I mean, you can't. I mean, like I said, I always say before, welcome to fantasy disco. It's
I don't think if they made a move for him, they wouldn't do that without the anticipation of extending him. You give him a 4-year extension. I think right now, after like everything hits next year, they'll probably have about $90 million in cap space.
You got $90 million going down because you also have the Andrew Thomas's contract. You have the Daniel Jones contract on that year. You have the Dexter Lawrence contract on that year.
That next year.
That year is going to be good. That contract's going to be going down. That number's going to be going down next year.
No, Thomas is on his 5th-year option next year.
You don't think they're going to sign Thomas?
I do think, but I don't think it's going to.
I think they're going to. Thomas is a player I think the Giants will sign into an extension before the end of this year.
Oh, I agree, but I don't think it's going to affect they already gave him his 5th-year option, so that's like $15 million. Yeah. So if anything, that number may come down a couple of million, $2 or $3 million, but I don't think his real number will hit until 2025.
I want to talk about Darren Waller a second. Make sure we get up 30. We're only 32 likes, and we get up to 35 likes. I want to talk about Darren Waller for a second.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, and I found this interesting. I spoke to someone who used to work for a team in the AFC. He's actually no longer in the league. He's now in the private business and doing sports marketing and things. And he has seen Waller play since 2019. In 2019, I think that was his first season. That was like his first big season. Was it 19 was his first big season?
I can check.
I think it was 19 was his first big season. So he said he's watched him since 19. He's watched him almost every single game, and he's seen him in person. His concern was this: going back to 2021 and 2022, we know that he has only been in 20 games in those last 2 years. He thinks that one of the big reasons why the Raiders moved on so quickly from Waller and took less for Waller was because of the fact that they didn't want to take that $11 million cap hit. And the other issue was the fact that they felt that if you look at the way Waller has played, and I will tell you this, I have not really watched Waller play in 2022, so I do not know exactly, but they say that he is saying that he feels that Raiders felt and the organization felt, and a lot of people in the league felt outside of the Giants, that Waller is no longer a top 10 tight end. And he didn't say a top 5. He didn't say a top 3. He said he doesn't think he's a top 10 tight end anymore because he is a wide receiving option who doesn't block, who has a history of injuries over the last 2 years. And if you look at him statistically, his catch percentages dropped from the high 70s to 59% in 2021 and only 65% in 2022. And this is playing with a pretty highly accurate quarterback in Carr. And he was mentioning his yards after the catch and everything else. I don't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, but I find that interesting. And like I said, this is a guy that's watched him play since 19. Did you look up if 19 was his big year?
Yeah. So he got into the league in 2015. He played 2015, 2016 with the Ravens, and then 2018 he went to the Raiders. That's when he got out of rehab and changed his life. He had only played in like 4 games, 6 catches, 75, and then 2019 he blew up.
19 is a big year. Was his big year? Okay.
Well, 2020 was his biggest year. So 19 was his first big year. He had 90 catches for 1,145 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then in 2020 he had 107 receptions for almost 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns.
So, like I said, I did not really watch Waller play in 2022. I didn't. I can't remember really watching because I didn't really watch much of the Raiders. But and they also had the situation where Derek Carr came out towards the end of the season and say, there was a certain player on this team that quit on the team. And then when he left, he came out and said it was Waller. And I do find, like I said, do you have any concerns that the fact that they got rid of him? They could have gotten more for him last year during the season. They got rid of him to get rid. Do you think? Well, the question is, do you think the Raiders just got rid of him to get rid of him? And do you think that I do think he's on the downslope of his career because he is 30 years old. But is he still a top 10 tight end after these last 2 seasons?
Yeah, I still think he's a top 3 when he's healthy. I think he's a top 3 tight end in this league when he's healthy. Look, I know he's 30 years old, but the guy didn't play for 2 seasons. So right now, I think he doesn't have the toll or the mileage on his body as some of these guys like a Travis Kelce, who's 31 years old or something like that, or 32 years old. He's a little bit up there in years. So I think right now, as far as from a body perspective, I think Waller's 30 with a body of like 28. So I definitely think he's got years left in him. I think when it comes down to it, with the Raiders in 2011 or 2021, that was a bad year for them. I think that was the year where, I think because Gruden was there from 2019 to 2021, he was there for a couple of years,
right?
So he was there for 3 years, and that's who they wanted to utilize. That's when he had his big years, because I think Gruden got there in 2019. And so Gruden was there. And then, his numbers jumped up, or maybe Gruden got there in 2020. But then in
2021, they went 10-7.
They went 10-7, but that's when Gruden went ahead and got hurt. Oh, not got hurt. Gruden got fired, and then I think Waller got hurt that year. He only played in 11 games, and I think it just changed. And then last season with 2022, I just think Josh McDaniels is a bad coach. I just think he is a bad coach. And when you look at some of the guys that he was utilizing when he went to Denver, right? He underutilized Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall was the same exact way. Like, even Brandon Marshall will come out and talk about it like Josh McDaniels is just a bad coach. And he just underutilizes, talent on a regular basis. Now, Devontae Adams was able to flourish, but I think it just came down to it where Waller again got hurt, but he hasn't had any major injuries. It's not like he had any injury. I think last year he hurt his hand. In 2022, I think he had a hand injury. And then I think in 2021, I think it was like a hamstring injury or like an ankle injury or something like that he had. I could probably pull up his injury and what he had, but look, I think he's still a top 3 tight end when he's healthy. And yeah, look, when you get a guy that comes in like a Josh McDaniels and is desperately trying to change it up, I think last year was the first year that they had Devontae Adams, right? And Waller was the main guy, and Tate took a lot of his targets. He was the main guy. So I think it was a combination of Josh McDaniels being a bad coach and not really managing the roster properly, maybe not having the ability to go ahead and build relationships with players. There was a lot of rumors that he went ahead and just rubbed him the wrong way, where he was like bitching about not being invited to Darren Waller's wedding and stuff like that. There was clearly a relationship gap there. Why wouldn't you invite your head coach, to your wedding?
We've actually covered this before. That story, and I saw it on the internet, and I saw it on some giant content creator. Someone did a video. It was bullshit. And I can tell you firsthand from people that are in the Vegas area that is 100% bullshit, because Bill Belichick didn't go to a lot of players' weddings. Tom Coughlin didn't go to a lot of players' weddings. That was such a blow.
Yeah, but were they invited though, and they didn't go?
I'm going to tell you
There's
this.
a difference there, though.
I'm going to tell
He
you.
didn't even get an
I'm
invitation.
going to tell you this firsthand. A lot of times head coaches don't get invited to things, don't get invited to players' weddings. It's not a big deal. It was such a bullshit story. The reason they got rid of him, injured 2 years, $11 million guaranteed on a contract for a bad team, which is going to be 2023 for the Raiders. That's why they got rid of him. They didn't get
I
rid
don't
of
think so. I disagree. I think
I'm going to tell you this straight from people that work in Vegas. I am going to dispel this rumor right now. That has nothing to do with it.
But I don't think that they got rid of him because he's a bad player.
It was a football decision. You got a guy headed to the wrong side of 30, injured 2 seasons, making $11 million on a guaranteed deal for a bad team that the Raiders are probably going to be in 2023, and they're trying to get younger because of the fact they just dumped their quarterback and brought.
But here's the thing: if you were right about that, this points to the fact that I think Josh McDaniels is a bad coach. Because if that was the case, what you're saying, based off of what you heard, then they would have given him to fucking Green Bay for a 2nd round pick, because that's what they were offering to him, and they didn't.
Here's the thing: that you want to know why they didn't do it? Because they were still the Raiders season. They still thought there was potential in the Raiders season. They still thought, and the fact that he got hurt.
But that doesn't. I mean, I don't know when he got hurt, but he didn't still.
He only played 9 games,
but he played 11.
Oh, and
no, 9. My bad. I was looking at 2021. But still,
11.
Okay, so if you're gonna, let's just say he played, at that point he played in 9 games. I don't know when he played in those games specifically. I'll give a breakdown. He played week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Then he didn't play week 5, didn't play week 6, didn't play week 7 or 8. And the trade deadline was what, week 9? I think week 9 was the trade deadline. And he didn't play week 9. So he missed
November 1st is the is the trade deadline. Was last year's trade deadline.
So I don't know what date that was. If that was week 8 or if it was week 9. I know it's week 10. And so he didn't play from week 5 to week 10. He came back in week 15.
Week 8 would be when the
week 8.
Week 8. Well, week 8 is November. It was October 30th.
Okay, so then he played in week
because they didn't trade him because he was hurt.
Yeah, so he played in week 1. He had 4 catches for almost 80 yards.
Let's back up the story here for a second, because I'm going to tell you why. Again, this is all bullshit. The whole he wasn't invited to the wedding bullshit.
That's fine. You could say that, but
I'm not done yet. You can't trade a play. This is what irritates me about people. If you want about people that project things as facts without actually doing any research, you can't trade an injured player. So he's injured. You can't. You're not going to sit there and get. And this is what the Green Bay's not going to trade you a 2nd round pick for a guy that was hurt and during the trade deadline.
But we did. We traded an injured player.
I know, but I'm saying smart teams do not accept the contract of an injured player for a 2nd round.
The Chiefs are dumb?
Yeah. The Chiefs are dumb to the fact that they gave up a 3rd rounder and got lucky that Kadarius Toney played the next week. Kadarius Toney all of a sudden got better. He was miraculous.
He was on the field, but he didn't do anything. My thing is this. I think that Darren Waller and Josh McDaniels got into it. I don't think they had a very good relationship. And it got to the point where at this point that organization is in a shit show. Right. And the Davis family has no real other alternative. And Josh McDaniels, I think, was the one that they maybe didn't accept the 2nd round pick. Maybe that wasn't a Josh McDaniels decision. Maybe that was, an Al Davis Jr. decision. Or Steve Davis, or whatever his first name is. What is it?
Mike Davis.
Mike Davis. And then after the fact, he comes back in week 15. And what? 2 receptions, 3 receptions, 4 receptions, 3 receptions. Doesn't really, they're not really giving him the football, but he scored 2 touchdowns in 4 games. And they just decide to trade him for a 3rd round pick. I think that 3rd round pick or that 3rd round trade, that's got Josh McDaniels' fucking name written all over it. Because Josh is stupid enough, and he would do some shit like that. And so I think, and I'm going to give credit to, or the benefit of the doubt, I don't think that Joe Shane and Brian Dable would make a trade for a player if they didn't feel that that player could be utilized and still had something in the tank. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think that Raiders organization was going in a direction where he didn't like. They went ahead and with all of the changes and the way things were being handled and everything like that, Josh comes in, probably didn't get off to a good start. Things weren't going the way that they wanted it to go. They started what? What were they? By the time he missed time, they had one win against the Broncos. They had one. So there was probably rumors about things starting to change, because remember, rumors came out part of that they were looking to trade him.
Do you know where the rumor started for the wedding? Do you know where the
not even about the rumors,
but
from what I heard, it came from him. It came from Waller and his wife.
No, it came from his wife. And it's interesting that it happened. Now, where does his wife play basketball?
In Vegas.
Okay. And they traded him out of Vegas. So do you think she was happy or unhappy that her husband got traded across the coast?
Probably unhappy.
Let me finish. So do you think a wife's coming out and just saying something that it was not a foot? I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is why this story is such bullshit, and people run with it. And like I said, people in Vegas will tell you this. Waller's catch percentage in 2021, do you think it was higher or lower than in 2022?
It was probably, well, he played less games, so maybe lower.
No, he played more games in 2021.
Than 2020?
In 2021, in 2021, do you think his catch percentage was higher or lower than in 2022?
Higher.
No, it was 59%. In 11 games, he was targeted 93 times, and his catch percentage, it was only 59%, which is bad for a tight end. But
I think he had the hand injury in 2021.
But he didn't play when he really had the hand injury. He stopped playing those last 7 games or 6 games.
Yeah, but I think he was playing through it. That's the point. I think that's why his what was his catch percentage last year?
65. The average tight end's catch percentage is in the 70s. And he was in the 70s. He had 76 in 2019. He had 73 in 2020. His catch percentage has been below now the last 2 seasons. This was strictly a football decision.
But that could be
made by the new GM, which his name is Dave Zeidler. This was not a decision that was just made by what's his name, by McDaniel. McDaniel does not have, and this is what kills me. McDaniel does not have. No, he does not have.
Yes, he does.
I'm going to tell you this. I know this for a fact. He does not have player personnel control. You think somebody's going to get a recommendation from Bill Belichick and they're not going to give him power?
Yes.
Did they give Joe Judge power?
Joe Judge didn't have a proven track record.
Joe Judge power.
But Joe Judge didn't have a track record.
Josh McDaniels has a track record of making bad decisions in Denver.
But he was a head coach already.
Josh McDaniels was his first year as a head coach, but he made bad personnel decisions, which is why Denver went down the hill.
But I'm just saying he had experience as far as being a head coach.
But he also had experience making players' decisions, and he made bad ones that put the franchise.
This is one of them. And this is one. Would you agree, when you're looking at the catching percentages, based upon how many games you play, that affects your percentages, does it not?
You should, if you play less games, more likely you're going to have a higher percentage.
Yeah, but but you're basing it off of that. He only played 9 games, and he played 11 games. He could have played in the rest of those games. That percentage could have went up,
or it could have gone down.
It could have gone down.
The percentage, your catch percentage over a larger period of times has more likely the ability to go down than it does to go up.
The Raiders organization makes stupid fucking decisions on a regular basis. I'm not going to give them any credit that this was an intelligent decision. They make dumb fucking decisions constantly.
I'm not saying it was an intelligent decision. All I'm saying is this: he was not traded because he did not get invited to a wedding.
No, I'm not saying that's why he got traded. What I'm saying is he got traded because He got into a bad way with the head coach. I don't think that they were vibing. I think that there was friction there between the two of them. I don't give a crap whether he got invited or not, but I don't think his wife also is going to come out and say some shit like that if it ain't true and lie and make up stories on her husband's name. I don't think she's going to do that.
Really? Have you ever?
don't.
Have you ever met professional football players' wives?
Did he come out and deny it?
Of course, he's not going to deny it. It's his wife.
Okay, so but that's I mean, come on, bro. You think if you think? Let me ask you a question. You think if Patrick Mahomes' wife came out and lied about something, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't come out and say that's bullshit?
Yes. Look at her.
He wouldn't, or he would.
Look, no, he would not come out and say anything. Look at what's going on with her brother or his brother. Look what's going on with that.
That's his brother, though. That's somebody. No, what I'm saying is, if his wife,
you evidently,
Tom Brady did it.
I'm gonna have to tell you this right. Tom Brady did it because Tom Brady has multitudes of Super Bowl rings.
But what I'm saying, is, I brought up Patrick Mahomes. You brought up his brother. His brother has nothing to do with it. If Patrick Mahomes' wife, let's just say Patrick
Mahomes' wife has said a lot of bad shit and weird shit on the internet, along with his brother, and Patrick Mahomes has said nothing.
Because he's never been asked.
He has been. Oh my God. I'm going to tell you this.
They're not asking him about it.
We're going to do that. We're going to do this in an easy way. We're going to do this in an easy way. Who's actually been around players' wives in the locker room and seen this? Who's actually seen people? Who's actually seen people do this shit? I'm sorry. I'm going to call bullshit on this one because you have people that do shit and make it sound like gospel. Then the problem is the fact they don't actually look at the facts. The Raiders, good or bad, right or wrong with Waller, made a business decision because it's the NFL. You have a 30-year-old making $11 million guaranteed who's had 2 bad seasons in a row. Yeah, they're going to take what they can get to get out of that country. I'm going to hit the like button. I got to run through a bunch of these.
I'm just going to say, again, I don't think it was a wedding decision that got him fired or got him traded. I think it was you had a bad relationship between the player and the head coach. There was definitely tension there. And yeah, maybe Waller went ahead and quit on the team, but I think he probably felt that the coach and everything like that quit on him. And
so you think it's all right?
Did you hear his interview? He said that he went to the facility to go to the trainers to get treatment. I think he left and got a phone call from some weird, just got a weird phone call that said, "Hey, by the way, you're traded to the New York." Josh didn't sit. Can you still see me?
Yeah.
Oh, my monitor's completely black. Josh didn't call him. The GM didn't call him. The owner didn't call him. He got another phone call from someone in the office that told him he was traded.
That's nothing. There have been plenty of players that said, "I learned about my trade via social media."
But not a guy that's been like a franchise player for you the last 3 years.
He's been a franchise player in the last 2 years.
He's one of the top tight ends in the league.
2020.
He's one of the top players at his position, and you're going to just have some random Joe Blow message him and say, "Hey, by the way, you're on your go to New York."
Yeah, there have been plenty of players that even said they didn't learn about their trade until they were on social media or a fan told them. This isn't the movies. This isn't the movies where the general manager goes, "You know what? Hey, I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to get rid of you." No, this is the NFL is business. When Phil Simms got released, he didn't hear it from George Young. Demara didn't call him. He got released.
So nobody sat down with him. Nobody, no GM, nothing.
No, he got released, and he said he learned about it on the radio at one point.
Not even Bill.
No, Bill was gone.
Parcells was gone.
Yes, it was Dan Reeves. It was 1993. It's when he tore.
I think if Bill was there, if Parcells was there, Parcells was there.
We live in fantasy disco land sometimes, people, but that's okay.
Dan Reeves was a horrible coach.
How many Super Bowls did Dan Reeves go to? How many Super Bowls did he go to?
How many did he win?
But how many did he go to?
I don't know. Probably 3.
Didn't he go to 4?
I thought he went to 3.
I believe he went to 4 in a row. It doesn't. You know what? Only one team a year.
Row?
Yeah.
With who?
with
When
Denver.
did he go 4 times with Denver? With John?
With John
With
Elway.
Elway?
Yes. Remember
I thought
Elway?
Shanahan went. Shanahan was there. He went to the Super Bowls with
He did,
Shanahan.
but who did the Giants beat in '86? Who did Washington destroy?
Oh, they beat Denver.
They beat Denver. Let's see. They went to 3 Super Bowls in 4 years.
So I was right.
86, 87, and 89.
So I was right.
Well, no. Well, they went to 3, but they lost all 3. But he went to 3 Super Bowls, so he's not a bad head coach.
That's what you asked me. That's what I said. You said how many Super Bowls?
But he's not a bad head coach. So we got a Tuto super chat. Tuto saying massive salute to proper respect to Tim, Rob, boys, everyone in the chat, diehard fans. Davey says Josh McDaniels, great coordinator, but had a Buddy Ryan was actually not a bad head coach. Buddy Ryan just Joe Bugle was I think is a better example of a really great coordinator that was a terrible head coach.
Yeah,
Joe
Buddy
Bugle,
Ryan was a good coach.
Buddy Ryan had his moments in Philadelphia. He actually had his moments in Arizona one year.
Like Rex, like his son Rex, bad head coach, but good coach. Like he's
Yeah,
good coordinator, not a good head coach.
Tuto says, Tim, you're right. All the rumors are just BS. Yeah, they are just BS because they're just for people that make videos and shit. Stop acting like you know everything, Tim. I do know everything, so just shut up. Tim once said, don't be hating on Tim for speaking his mind. Thank you for love of MMA. Let's see. I just got out of work. I'll watch this later. Respect to all you guys. But Tim, please to drop the wedding BS lol. Keep focused on the Giants. Sometimes you got to talk about stuff. He doesn't know how. You know what? What is your name? CC Rock, whatever. Fuck off. You're gonna get put in timeout because I don't deal with bullshit. Let's see here. Timothy says, Timothy, hey Tim, what's up? Giants signed Barkley to 5-year deal worth $60 million. No, I don't think they're gonna sign him to a 5-year. I think if they, I gotta get out. I gotta get out of here in a few minutes because I got a bike rally I gotta go to, and you have something to do too. Also at 12, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I don't think they sign him.
I do. I think it's a 4. I think it's a 4. I don't think it's a 5-year deal. I think it's like a 4-year deal. I think it's like 4 years, 60 million, like 30 guaranteed.
Do you sign him this year though?
I think they're going to try to. I really do. I think that they're going to try to. I saw LPG was on Talking Giants, and I think LPG is a lot more plugged in than some of our beat writers are.
Right.
And, you know, I think he's talked with Saquon directly. And supposedly, from what he said, is that when Shane didn't get the deal done, they were pushing hard to get the deal done at the trade deadline, like
right.
or at the bye week, my bad, the bye week. And when it didn't get done, Shane was pissed. Like Shane was like very, very angry. And so I think they are going to try to get a deal done, but LPG thinks that he's going to be here no matter what, whether it's on a deal or whether it's the tag. Like he'll show up, he'll sign the tag, he'll play on the tag. He's not going to sit out. He won't be a hindrance. But I do think he's going to get – LPG thinks that he's going to probably get a deal done. I think it's going to be like 4 years, 60 million, probably like 30 million guaranteed, which isn't a big hit. You make his cap hit this year like 5 years, and then you give him like 15 next year, and then like what? Like another 12 or 13 next year or something like that. And then you can get out of it after – like if he's not on the roster. Like I think it'll be like a Waller situation. He'll just be under contract, but like he won't have any more guaranteed money due.
So do you think Saquon's wife said something and that's why they haven't gotten a deal done yet?
Fuck off. Fuck off.
Come on, the wives are in charge of everything. Mike Lee is right. Dan Reese also went to the Super Bowl with the Falcons. You're right. That's a good point. He went to 4 Super Bowls, but he's a terrible head coach, according to Rob. Terrible head coach.
He is.
Terrible head coach. Actually had the renaissance with the Giants and got them back in the playoffs with people like Danny Cannell. Tim, yeah. Do we pick up another linebacker before camp?
I don't think so. Edge rusher maybe, but not linebacker.
I think you have to.
Edge rusher or linebacker?
I think you have to.
Jared Davis, they haven't cut him yet. So
I think, you know, if you take a look at the Giants roster right now, if you could tell me that you are comfortable with the linebacking situation, both interior and outside.
The outside, no, but the interior, I'm okay with because I'm expecting Beavers to play. Micah McFadden, second year in the system. They have Jared Davis. They got the guy.
Well, you have Beavers, you have Ian Brown, you have what's his name? You have Tony Brown, you have Carter Coughlin, you have Jared Davis. You got the kid Johnson from the rookie, the kid out of
The
Toledo.
Toledo or something like that. Yeah.
And you got
Didn't they get a guy out of Ole Miss? They got
and-
another linebacker out of Ole Miss, like something Brown,
but
Troy Brown.
but I think he's gonna be more of an outside guy because he's too small to play in the middle. And then you got
Bobby.
You got Bobby, and then you got McFadden, are your inside guys. And then
I'm okay with that group.
Your outside guys, you got Fox, you got Ojulari, you got Smith. You technically have Kayvon Thibodeau because they have him listed as an outside linebacker. You got Ward, you got Zimenez, and then you got the kid Brown. So I mean,
no, you forgot that other guy, Pitt.
The
guy they undrafted guy from Pitt that they got, who's an edge rusher.
Yeah, I can't remember everybody's name.
I can't remember his name, but
I can't remember everybody's name.
I would think that they would be more looking at potentially like edge rusher. Now, depending on how like camp goes, like if Beavers are struggling and stuff like that, I don't think they want to go in with Davis and Micah. So then maybe they're looking. Then maybe at that point,
tell me that we have a viable outside containment run stopping linebacker or two on this roster?
Not at 100%. I think Kayvon will be better with it. I think Hattie shows glimpses here and there. Aziz is to me is strictly a pass rusher. Like he's just a pass rushing guy. I don't know what this undrafted guy. People are high on him from Pittsburgh. I don't know what he's going to be. Ellerson Smith, he's a ghost. We haven't seen him. Timon Fox, I don't know. To me, I think the guys that I think that we could potentially bring in, which I think it'll be like in training camp, depending on how it's looking, guys that I would keep a lookout is Yannick Ngakoue, played with Baltimore, played with Wink, familiar. Justin Houston is a guy that I would like to bring in. Also played with Wink in 2021, had 9.5 sacks.
Like Yannick Ngakoue, he doesn't play the run.
Doesn't play the run. No, he's a pass rusher. Houston can.
But Houston is getting up there in age. That's like
he's 34, but he was still productive last year. I mean, I think he had like 9.5 sacks last year. You know, I think it was last year when he had 9.5 sacks. So,
but here's the question.
Or JPP, that's the other guy.
The Giants. What was, and this is like a game show. Rob for 10,000 points. What was the biggest issue on the Giants line last year?
Like outside contain.
What was the biggest play that gashed the Giants?
Outside zone.
And outside zone, off tackle. There was so many issues in containing the run. And you've basically given me all question marks in reference to players that you would bring in that we have on the roster that could contain the outside edge. So you wouldn't say we would need a exterior linebacker?
No, because like I think the guys, I think with the guys that they added on the defensive line with Ashawn and Nacho, and then obviously Dexter coming back.
But if you add the interior line as a team, as an offensive coordinator, you see the bulked up inside of the interior line of the Giants. Where are you going to run? Are you going to?
Well, you're going to try to run the outside. But I think a big problem that we had last year was we didn't have a lot of depth at the defensive line position. So your defensive lineman guys couldn't get down the line, which aided with contain. When you look at the game, like games from like Nacho and Ashawn, they actually do a decent job as far as getting movement down the line of scrimmage at the point of attack. So if it's an outside run,
if you are an interior lineman and you're helping push the run to the exterior, and you don't have a viable option for people that know how to contain the edge, isn't it going to be the same situation as last year?
No, because I think with the defensive linemen that we added, I think they'll aid and help guys like Kayvon contain outside edge. I think Bobby will be able to do it as well.
If you're playing the defensive nose tackle position or the nose tackle position, how are you going to help on a power jet sweep?
You can get down the line with that. It's just about getting movement. Like they didn't have last year. The only guys that they had were Leo and Dex was getting double teamed, but Dex couldn't get down that line. I'm talking about the guys that they came in when you're getting those outside sweeps. A lot of times you like when you look at Ashawn and when you look at Nacho, the guys that they added, those guys get down the line, and actually when it's an outside run, they're getting pressure behind the line of scrimmage. They're able to beat their guy, get in between the blocks, and either make a tackle before it gets outside to the perimeter, so right before it gets there, or it gets to a point where you throw that running back off.
What happens when they get to the perimeter?
You got to have outside contain.
Okay.
But the thing is, we weren't getting that penetration last year at all to throw the running back off.
Get that penetration all the time.
No, but I think it's going to be a lot better now. I think it's going to be a lot better now.
A lot better, but if you don't have something to maintain the containment, you don't have something to maintain the edge, and you're forcing the run to the edge, isn't that a dangerous way to play if you don't have someone that can stop someone that can either stop or slow down? The biggest issue the Giants had last year was basically teams just running off tackle and teams just hitting that because we had nobody that would sit there and understand their assignment. We had a lot of players that were good pushing upfield, and this is kind of like Daniel Jones's big runs always come against Philadelphia, always come against Washington. Why? Because they play an aggressive style defense where the defensive ends and the linebackers push forward and over pursue a lot of times, which then opens up not only the middle of the field, but the outside of the field for Daniel Jones to run off these big chunks. And that's why the Giants and like the Bears game and the Texans game, that's why the Giants had so many issues maintaining their assignments, because they were trying to get the push, but their players didn't understand. Yes, you need to get the push, but you also need to understand, as an outside linebacker, as a defensive end, you need to maintain your assignment against the run, or you're just going to continuously get gashed.
Yeah, but I think a part of that goes into it is last year, like I said, I don't think we were able to get down the line of scrimmage, and our guys on the outside were getting caught in more wash because there was more hats to contain outside. So it's harder. Basically, your edge guys force everything inside. And
right.
the problem is that they weren't able to get on the outside because the defensive line were not able to get down the line, allowing the offensive linemen to focus on them, freeing up the edges.
But whose assignment is it on the defensive line to help to basically push the plays back into the middle of the field?
Well, I mean, that's Leo's job.
No, but Leo played mostly in the interior.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He played on the edge, but Leo was not getting.
Leo last year played the majority of his snaps in the box.
But what I'm saying is when
Leo. Serious question: whose job is it on the defensive line to help push the play towards the middle of the field, to keep the play in the middle of the field? Whose job is it on the defensive line?
I mean, you could say the edge rushers.
Right. That's their job.
JPP,
OC Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, even Matthias Kiwanuka at times. They were pass rushing defensive ends who played the run.
Yeah, but we were running it was running 4-3.
Yeah, but we run different schemes with Wink. Okay, you want to run a 3-4. Okay, let's go to George Martin. Let's go to Leonard Marshall. Again, defensive ends who played the run and actually pushed the assignments into Jim Burt, into Harry Carson, and to Gary Reasons.
This is where I think the problem was.
These are all run-stopping defensive ends that understood containment, and then you look at your outside linebackers, two of the best New York Giant football linebackers ever that understood not only how to rush the passer, but in Carl Banks and Lawrence Taylor, but they understood how to be run-stopping, run-controlling, line-controlling defensive players on the outside edge as linebackers. And they understood. I understand my assignment is also to rush the quarterback, but there are plenty of times that Banks and Taylor understood their assignment that you need to maintain the edge.
The problem where I think that we had, which is what I was getting at, is last year, the guys that we had in a 3-point stance more times than not was just Leo and Dex. And then because we didn't have a lot of depth at the defensive line position, then it was you had guys like Hattie that were standing up at the defensive end position on either side, and
But
we're not
if you go to the Baltimore defense, if you go to the way Baltimore that Wink played defense in Baltimore, you had a lot of the majority of his interior linemen are standing up.
No,
if you go, you tell me Matt Judon and other players did
Matt Judon. Yeah, but Matt Judon's an edge rusher. He plays Kayvon's position.
Right.
When
Matt
Wink
Judon
was
can
there,
also play the run.
but when Wink was there, they had Brandon Williams at the nose tackle. They had Calais Campbell on the other side, and then they had Parnell McPhee that was originally a defensive end that they converted, just similar to what JPP was, a defensive end that they converted. But they had three guys on. They also had Derek Wolfe that they went ahead and got. So they had Derek Wolfe at one defensive end, they had Calais Campbell, and then they had Brandon Williams. So they had three guys on the ground with on a 3-point stance. There are other guys, yes, were standing up, but they were on the outside. The problem with us is you had Hattie standing up at a defensive end. You had Kayvon up, you had O'Shane up, then you had maybe two middle linebackers, and then you had Leo, and then you had Dexter at the nose tackle. And Leo was either on the opposite side of where Hattie was standing up. Now you've got Nacho, you've got Ashawn, you've got Leo, you've got Dex. I guarantee you're going to see things where it's going to be Ashawn, Leo, and Dex in the 3-point stance in a natural 3-4. You'll have Hattie at the defensive end position, probably starting opposite of Kayvon. Aziz is your pass rusher, and then they'll have their two interior linemen, which will be Beavers or Davis and obviously Bobby. And you're going to see the run being able to get down the field more. Because the problem is that when Hattie was there, Hattie wasn't getting down the field. Then because Hattie was getting caught up in the wash, then Kayvon got caught in the wash. Hattie wasn't doing his job. So now the rushes were going to get to the outside.
So
if you have Ashawn there,
you're saying to me that there is no importance for a run stopping outside linebacker.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's kind of what you're saying, that we don't.
That's not what. But you have to have.
Who are your outside run stopping linebackers? Outside linebackers.
It's your edge rusher, but all they're doing is forcing everything back inside.
But we tried to force things inside last year, and
no, we didn't. No, we did not. We did not.
Yes,
more
everything. I
watched multiple. I watched the same games more times than not.
There is different ways.
Was trying to turn around.
I've said this before a million times. There's a difference between watching a game on TV and watching a game from the 50-yard line in the 12th row. There is a huge difference between seeing this happen.
Just in the Jaguars game alone, Kayvon Thibodeau had to turn around because he was caught in a block, and Travis Etienne got to the outside because the lineman didn't get down the.
So who was the outside linebacker on that play?
Kayvon.
Okay.
But he got caught because Hattie didn't get down, or Leo did not get down the line to allow Kayvon to get to the outside.
So it's Leonard Williams' fault.
Well, when Kayvon's going up against three fucking blockers, what do you want him to do? Leonard's got to get down the fucking line of scrimmage.
I'm going to have to agree to disagree on this one because of the fact that if you do not see the importance of an outside linebacker,
I'm not saying I don't.
And you look at this roster and you say, "Oh yeah, we're good on the outside linebackers." You talk about players from last year and a bunch of rookies. I am telling you this, and I'm going to say it right now, and I'm going to say it plain and clear for everyone to hear. If the Giants do not figure out, and it's yes, to your point, yes, your interior linemen can help maintain your outside edge assignments. But if you sit there and tell me that it is not important to have your defensive end and your outside linebackers understand the nuances of maintaining your edge assignments and playing the run, I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
But I'm not disagreeing with you with that.
No, but the question was this: does the Giants need to have any more outside linebackers, or do they need to pick up another outside linebacker? And you told me about all these things that we're doing in the interior line, but it still has not addressed the talent of the outside linebacking position.
I said that we would need to go ahead and get an edge rusher, but
edge rusher. We're not talking about an edge rusher. We have plenty. We don't need an edge rusher. We have plenty of edge rushers. We have a plethora of edge rushers.
If you go out and you get a guy like Justin Houston, he could do both. He could pass rush and he could play the run. If you want to do on both sides,
Houston could have done that 2 years ago. I think you're asking a lot from a 34, 35-year-old.
He was doing it last year. He did it last year.
So players never had drop off in their play because of age.
I mean, he had 6.5 sacks the year before that. He had 9.5 last year. He had tackles for loss.
But players have never dropped off in talent.
Why is it that players are automatically going to drop off when we are looking at them?
I'm not saying players are automatically going to drop off. I'm just saying this. You can't rely on a 35-year-old.
I mean, he's still playing at a high level. He's still got a high motor.
But I can't. This is not. I always tell people this is not Madden. This is why I'm not saying you're saying it, but I'm saying this. Players from year to year fluctuate. A player that is great one year and good in one system may not be that way the next year when they get up more in age. It's just an outside. It's just a fact. It's just a fact of life.
But Justin Houston had.
If you would have told me
that, he well with
if you would have told me that someone like if you had someone like Bobby Wagner, like I liked Bobby Wagner a couple of years ago, and he went on to a couple different places, and even after that, and still excelled. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you that bringing in someone like Bobby Wagner is going to come in and fix the Giants' outside rush. There are problems against the outside outside run, because of the fact that he is getting on the other side of his career, and that's not anything. You got someone like if they would have brought in someone like, not that they could have got him, but if they would have went out and got someone like Will Anderson. Will Anderson, to me, why I think Kayvon Thibodeau is a better player against the rush. Against rushing the passer. I think someone like a Willie Anderson would have been better understanding and playing as a rookie, playing his run assignment, because they're two different players. And I think Kayvon Thibodeau has a greater upside and greater talent than he does in reference to going after the quarterback, because that's his assignment and that's his job. All I'm saying is this: you cannot sit there and say that the Giants, if you take a look at their situation for the outside linebacker and say, yeah, I feel comfortable with these guys because we picked up 2 defensive tackles. All I'm saying is you could move the play, you can turn around, you can have people push the play to the outside, you can have guys that can help you in the second level. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a gentleman at the point of attack as an outside linebacker who understands the run and how to play his assignment on the run, you're playing Russian roulette. Because let's say Nacho gets lost in the sauce one play. Let's say Ashawn has misses his assignment, and you have a running back bounce outside. If you don't have an outside linebacker who understands, okay, this is my assignment, this is my gap assignment, this is where I need to be. It's what happened to the Giants the last 3 years against the run. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. I think Kayvon will be a lot better against the run this year. He was good. I think he was, for a rookie, like, I'm not expecting a rookie to come in and be a world beater, especially with what we had on the defensive line. I think he's going to be better against the run this year. To me, when I look at it, if it's an offset run and you've got your 5 linemen and then you got your tight end on the on Kayvon's side, and then typically you have like a pulling guard, Kayvon was going up against 2 guys because Leonard or Hattie were not getting down the line. They were getting cut off because they're lining up either in the C or B gap. They're automatically getting cut off. They weren't able to get down the line of scrimmage. But that could potentially happen on a couple.
Of course it can, but it was happening more times than what it should have. If you're lining up with those 3 linemen and Leonard could get down and get on the outside of the D gap, now Kayvon only has to deal with just the tight end trying to block him, and the pulling guard doesn't necessarily need to work. The pulling guard is coming up there not only to try to get to Kayvon if whatever reason the tight end loses him, but he's also, the pulling guard is there to take advantage and to get rid of the middle linebacker that's coming up to try to fill up that gap. So more times than not, Kayvon, when he was trying to get to the outside, he had the 2 guys that were filling him in, and then the pulling guard was coming around, which was that he was getting filled up by the tackle and the tight end, and then the pulling guard came around, and then they took out whoever else was there because our middle, like, it was so irritating. Again, I'm not saying that can't happen or that won't happen, but more times than not, Kayvon got caught up because either Leonard didn't get down the line or neither did Hattie.
What if it does happen?
If it does happen, then Kayvon, this is where Kayvon in his second year needs to improve by putting himself in a better position, maybe better hand movements to just get to the outside, not allowing himself to get.
Now, what happened if they go to the left side?
Whoever's same thing, whoever's on that outside.
But who's the left side?
It's probably going to be Hattie. That's who it's going to be.
There is a reason why the Giants got gashed with the run the last 3 years, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's because of the outside the outside linebacking play.
I think it's a combination of that and the interior line play.
And I think the interior, I mean, because we've heard for years how wonderful Dexter and Leonard and everyone is. So I'm not going to fall. Chris says, hell no to Justin Houston as a Giant. Glenn says, Tim, you keep saying that we're going to make a step back. But with the upgrades we have made, the only reason we take a step back is with the roster is because DJ is messing up. I'm saying we're going to take a step back, not because of the roster, but because of the schedule and because of the fact that the ball, I always love it because I always think of the movie, what is it? The Replacements with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And I always think of the wide receiver with no hands because he always talks about the football, and he goes, Clifford Franklin's, is like a cold. Yeah. Football Tim's like a cold. He's the only one catching. He's the only one coming down with it. And Gene Hackman in that movie says the football is the shape for a reason. And because it's just going to bounce differently.
Yeah.
And it's law of averages says that the ball that bounced away, everyone's got to admit the Giants for 7 weeks, the ball bounced their way. Their ball, and that's just the way that happens in sports. The ball bounced away. So, but statistically speaking, the ball's not going to bounce that way every year.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a play where, we don't stop the guy on the 1 yard line in Jacksonville. We don't get the bad call, or we don't get the call or not get the call in, like against Darnay Holmes. You had a couple calls in the game in the Texans and the Bears that went against the Giants that they just weren't there. The penalties just weren't there. You're not going to get all that because that's just football. Yeah. And that's, and I'm not saying they're going to take a step back because of their talent. I'm taking a step back because of the fact that they no longer have a 31st or 32nd ranked team schedule. That's and like I said, and to me, a step back could be one loss, one extra loss. Mark said, Glenn says, mark my words, our defense will hold teams under 20 points, so the offense needs 21. Each game, we are good. I hope you're right. Chris also says, I expect more from Kayvon Thibodeau as the 5th overall pick. Expected almost Nick Bosa, and production didn't get it. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say this about Kayvon.
If you were expecting Nick Bosa production out of Kayvon Thibodeau, then you had very, very, very wrong high expectations.
A lot of people had that expectation. A lot of people. And then a lot of
totally different players.
And then a lot of people turned on Kayvon Thibodeau during the season. And it wasn't until the last wasn't the last 3 games of the season that everyone now said, oh, Kayvon Thibodeau.
It wasn't until the Sunday night game when he got the strip sack touchdown. Two totally different players. They play 2 totally different positions. Sorry, but that's a wrong expectation to have.
Chris also says linebacking court in general needs some help. Yeah, it does. And
You're supposed to agree with me, Chris, not him.
And I don't think Shane is like a Jerry Reese who is just ignoring the linebacking position, not drafting a linebacker. I don't think he falls into that category, but I do think that the Giants need linebacker court. All right, it is late. You were supposed to be out here at 12, Rob. It's 12:33.
Yeah, I know.
So, and I have a charity motorcycle rally to go to, and I was supposed to leave here at 12 o'clock as well. But you know what? When you're always having a good conversation, you're always having fun doing stuff. You always just want to stay there and just keep talking about the New York Giants. Got a lot of good content coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're all slowing down a little bit on content because of the fact that it is the silly season, and I don't just make videos to make videos. So I just, when something strikes me, that's when I do it. But we definitely have some stuff coming up, and a couple people requested that we do an evening live stream during the week, and I'm going to try to put that together. I just don't know when we're going to be able to do that because I got a lot of stuff going on. So
I work until like 9 o'clock during the week. So
the good news is you weren't invited. So I mean, we'll make.
Oh, thanks.
You were serious about that?
But we'll figure something out. Chris says, I appreciate the conversation, everyone. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know what? And I think that's what makes this such a great stream on Sundays. You can agree to disagree, you can argue, but at the end of the day, everyone's still a Giant fan. You know, it's just everyone has a different opinion.
Fuck off.
So, so I mean, and nobody listens to Rob anyways. Just one of those people.
Whatever. Whatever.
Oh, and on that happy note, everyone knows it's time to end this Sunday. It's time to leave. This is Rob. This is Tim. This is Sunday Giant. Waiting to see you guys next week. We're out of here.